Recently, I had someone ask me about my thoughts on whether inflation or deflation is going to occur out of this pandemic in regards to the global supply chain or the food chain. Um, what's happening currently is our exports to the world, like pork right now, is the biggest example, pigs, swine to other countries, primarily South Korea, Japan, and China, is a no go. They're not importing any meats from us because they see us as an infected nation, and that's not far from the truth, considering we have the most deaths so far from coronavirus. But what happens is all that food that we normally send to China is stuck here, and yet we have a food shortage that they think is going to happen, or a meat shortage with the food chain breaking down. Now, how can that occur if we're sending less food to other countries? They say, like the meat packing plant in New York, that for the pigs there, that they were infected with COVID, which very well could be true. But I will tell you as how a capitalist thinks about this, and this is where you'll kind of see or garner the truth a little bit. you know, if a hundred, you have 100 pigs, and 40 of those pigs normally go to America, 60 normally go to China. What happens when you now have 100 pigs to go to America because China no longer wants them? The value of that product, produce, whether it's meat or vegetables or whatever, has to stay in America. Therefore, the price that they normally ascertain for these, even though they sell it to China cheaper than they sell it to Americans, is going to push down the value of meat here unless they do a mass kill off so that they can keep the prices high. And you say, well, why would they do that? They could make just as much money, kill it, and the supply chain, food lays dormant for a very long time. It can become bad. But the true thing is that they keep it lower because we pay more for it. And if we have to pay less for the meat, it hurts their corporate earnings, or the way um, their boards and councilmen who worry about the shareholders and different things like that, they see, you know, the value of the American goods going down, which further creates a stigma or a panic in the stock market, and things will start selling off really, really fast. So it hurts their bottom dollar. So what they do instead is they kill off all these. In this instance, they're going to kill off a bunch of pigs and chickens so that they can keep the American price standard. So that whenever they do their reviews, they'll say, "Well, oh, we're only losing money because China is no longer purchasing this and that." But what they're going to find out is there's going to be a backlash against this because we still have to eat, and it's temporarily going to raise prices on Americans. And this food is created here just because foreign countries don't want to buy it. At first, it'll raise prices. But then when people stop buying that and start turning to alternatives like local farmers, which will be cheaper if this happens the way they say it, and no countries are buying these like Tyson chicken. They're not buying chicken in other countries from Tyson. And even Americans stop buying Tyson chicken, and because it'll cost too much, they'll go to local farmers to get that, or they'll start raising their own chickens themselves, and then what comes out of that will be deflation. Tyson will lower its prices to match the demand in the United States, no longer worrying about global commerce. And that is the state of the world we are currently living in. And there's really no way out of that currently until, you know, they say this is a globalist society, a globalist economy, and oh, we got to get out. It's already there. It's been that way for 30 years now, or 40. So we are beholden on corporate companies owned in America that have outsourced all our resources, our pricing, even the value of the US dollar. All that's tied to other countries. I mean, it's bad to say, hard to believe, But the way the economy is set up, it's set up for global commerce. It's not set up, even Wall Street's no longer set up for Americans or the American dream. Capitalism doesn't care about Americans, it cares about sales. It doesn't matter if the sales are to Americans. I mean, you only have so many Americans. How many people live in China? How many people live in Russia? How many people live in India? They see America as a marketplace and all these other countries as marketplace. And that is why capitalism is going to, at this point, fail us, all of us.